Chainsaw Diaries is coming to you from Immortals Inc. Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, chainsworders of all ages, welcome to the Chainsaw Diaries. This week we continue our walk through the game phase by phase. We're going to call this the G Show. We are talking about the psychic phase, brought to you by the great Smite Hope himself, TCDG. Yep. And we got TCD Jeff hanging out just to...
I'm the punching bag in this phase.
Yeah, it's ugly for you, man. It's ugly.
You should play a psychic phase. The game gives you one, but you don't use it.
Yeah.
Half my armies don't even have psychers.
So. Oh, there you go.
So there you go.
They're losers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I'm 2-0 with AdMac. Don't sleep on them. You're sleeping on them.
They don't have psychics either?
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no.
Man.
They got to bring in IG with psychers or something.
The great Omnissiah does not know magic.
No.
We got machines, man.
Just zeros and ones.
Zeros and ones, man. Binary all day.
It's
plenty. Well, I'm bringing the ones for sure.
Yeah.
So
if I could roll a zero, I'd roll zeros too. Anyway, go on.
Nice.
You're the only guy that can roll a zero on a D6.
Figure out a way. I can make that happen.
Yes.
This dream can come true.
That's right. Yeah.
So, what do you guys got going on this week, 40K wise?
Man, a lot of playing, a lot of modeling, finishing up AdMech. Yeah, painting. Yeah, just pretty much all facets of the hobby right now.
Yeah.
Covering all bases. I like it. Yeah. G, got anything special going on this week? You've been holding it down hobby-wise?
Yeah, I got my first game in with Death Guard, and I am like building and painting, but trying to,
What are you building?
Just like the Terminators for them.
Oh,
and,
that's right. You got like the Blight Lords and all that.
Yeah. It's all stuff for them, and then like just playing them, like forgetting a bunch of rules because they can do a lot.
Oh, dude, so many times I forget rules anymore. It's like,
yeah, that's what the internet's for, is to tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. G is representing the internet, holding it down for you at home.
No, you're wrong.
Minus the neck beard and the mother upstairs yelling at you. That's
wow,
me.
man.
That's not to say that's our audience, but that's probably 10%.
Nah, hey, you gotta keep it real. Gotta call it down when you have to. That's totally gonna get us more fans.
Hey, Ma! Meatloaf! Make me a sandwich! I'm watching this 40K report.
Good
It's a heated match between AdMech and
TCD Meat Man.
Descended into madness once again.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey man, you walked into that one. I don't know why that I don't know.
That'll be funny forever for us.
Yes, me and G are gonna forever ride that one.
Yep.
Ride or die on Meat Man. Got it.
Yep.
I see how it goes. No, so this week I've been got a couple games in. Took a look at some of the new ITC missions. Really like the way that they're going with some of the adaptable missions and bringing a little bit of the flavor and randomness of Maelstrom without going full on RNG. Looked pretty good.
So those you said ITC, right?
Yep.
So are they like the 7th edition ones? I haven't looked at them yet.
They're similar. I mean, there's some additional elements giving benefit to the second player.
Okay.
They're really trying to mitigate some of the Alpha Strike nonsense that's going on right now.
I really like that because, it's a
ITC
little
is always good for
unbalanced.
that, yeah.
Right now, if you go first, you can just, mop your opponent up.
Yeah.
That's always been a thing, though. So, but like ITC usually is good for that. Like they're usually good for good, back and forth.
Right,
games.
and given some immediate scoring advantages to the player who's going second is really a really well thought out way to handle some of the ups and downs of the Alpha Strike heat that a lot of armies can bring. Sure. And speaking of that, I played against some Guard this week, and let me tell you, their plasma is no joke. I saw 18 plasma guns to the face on a charge, and on 12 dice, I saw seven sixes shoot Morty, and he'd already taken some previous wounds and really just took me right out of my game, losing Morty on Overwatch, which shouldn't have happened at all.
I think that's like one of the worst feelings is like charge oh, I'm dead. Like, yo, like losing the guy in Overwatch has got to be like a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like your
You get all
big
your
boss too.
Especially,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, this is his thing. Like, close combat, like, he's going to
Yeah.
just slay.
Right,
and then-
right. Terminators, you're like, damn it. But like Mortarian, you're like, oh, I guess you just scoop now.
Yeah.
I
My
guess
game's over.
it's
Two
over.
scoops a game over,
Yeah.
please.
I like that one. That's a good
That's
one.
exactly right. So this week we're talking about your favorite phase, G, your second shooting phase, your great smite hope psychic phase. So why don't you kick us off? Tell us a little bit about what we can do in the psychic phase and how you're utilizing it to turn it into an advantage for your army, no matter what you're bringing to the table.
All right, so the psychic phase, I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan since the beginning.
Since day one.
You know, long time listener, first time smiter. And, yeah, I think it is your first shooting phase if you're playing the army that can carry psychers. And now so with my Grey Knights, that's why actually I don't play my Grey Knights anymore, because it like makes it kind of easy for me sometimes. And I look at it to really be aggressive. Like it allows me to put wounds on something with that psychic phase that I know I'm not going to shoot at in the shooting phase.
Yeah.
So that's actually how I use, like, I'll kill this in the psychic, and then I just move over here, so I'm in between these two things, and then I'll shoot the other one.
Yeah, plus the more wounds is like freebies. It's like, all right, well,
Yeah,
as long as
yeah.
this goes off, I know I'm doing
All
damage.
you have is
Right.
your disgusting resilient or whatever,
Yeah.
version of that, and if you can't, and
Yeah.
and if you're a demon, you just take 3. Bam.
Sit down.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the nice thing is it's not just Grey Knights that can bring that
Well,
style
yeah, it's a
of
different
list.
dimension with non-Grey Knights because they're getting D3.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's the way to like handcuff the Grey Knights, is just like making it 1 mortal wound unless it's a demon. So like you look at the other things that have psychers, like I think it's a little unfair because like what's the bad guy, the Chaos
Thousand
Magnus?
Suns?
Yeah, they have a bunch of psychers too, and they're not they're not handcuffed like that. But I don't know if like
but they really don't have.
No, yeah,
they
they
don't
are.
have guns. Well,
Yeah,
don't
they
have-
are. The for the Rubric Marines and the Terminators, they only do one.
They only do one like
They
the
only
Grey
do
Knights.
one,
Okay, that's
correct.
good then. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Oh, then good. Then I guess
Well, I was gonna say
fair.
because the demons don't really have guns, so it kind of makes sense that that's their shooting. Really, I mean, like a few units do, but like for the most part, like
Okay.
Magnus's
Yeah.
shooting is his psychic. So
Is a psychic, which
Yeah.
Correct.
makes a lot of
Right,
sense.
right.
Yeah.
So it is balanced out, and you're going to see psychic abilities coming at you from some unusual places. We've just recently talked to an orc player who's bringing anywhere from 6 to 10 weird boys to the table,
Yeah.
and that's not something that you normally see the orcs dominate at.
Right,
is a
right.
psychic phase.
Yeah.
And we're looking to see with the upcoming months, we're going to see how the Eldar turn out. And they're bringing a ton of psychers to the table as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Farseer Skyrunner, like and I don't think they have have any limits on the smite, like being only 1 damage. So I mean that's what 12 to 16-inch movement
Right.
with smite. I mean, you're looking at 30-inch
Real
potential,
good. Real good.
30+ inch.
Threat
I like it.
range.
I like
Threat
it.
range,
I
yeah.
like it. Yeah. Yeah, I think we can actually. I'd love to break this discussion down. Like we could talk about the psychic phase, and then we can talk about smite separately.
That's true. You could go on.
Yeah,
and on
because
about
like
it.
I think that's when. So far,
There's so
when,
much variety,
when
too.
we talk about the psychic phase, most people are like, "Oh, smite spam!" Like, and the orc guy, he's literally like, you don't think of smite spam when you
Play
versus
orcs,
a
yeah.
orc army.
You're
like,
thinking the jump or something.
Right,
Right.
right, yeah. Just a bunch of green, blobs running at you, just a giant horde of, green.
Yeah.
But these guys are, bringing psychers. So, I think smite will be changed. Like I said, we'll talk about it later on, but I think they're going to change the rules on that.
We'll do a deeper dive as we get out of our current batch of shows that we've got going on here, walking through the game phases, where we'll take a deeper dive and look at Smite and see if it is something that maybe GW needs to look at to change. But it isn't the only thing that you're doing in the psychic phase. There are a lot of different advantages that you can bring to the table. I know that one thing that I, as a Chaos player, am definitely looking to do is, even if I'm bringing a Death Guard army, I like to ally in the Chaos Sorcerers, just for the fact that you always talk about it as your second shooting phase, but it's more than that for your Grey Knights. It's also kind of a second movement phase as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So it takes
redeployment for you with Gate, basically.
So Yang, one of our listeners and players, he just got into Grey Knights and he was asking for advice for an upcoming battle report.
Oh boy!
And I told him to use your psychic phase as a movement and an attack phase. I was like, if you can only move 6 inches or 5, just remember you can gate another infinite amount of, as long as you're 9 inches away. So yeah, it can. If you suck at deployment, which hopefully you don't because you've listened to our other podcast. But in case you missed that and you're listening to this one.
We got a podcast for that.
Grey Knights and Warp Time with Chaos.
Yeah.
Is fantastic.
I think the sisters have one. Celestine has something, I don't know what it's called, but you get to move again also.
Right,
So,
and there are different things that you can do within the psychic phase. It is truly a force multiplier in and of itself, because you can have those abilities like the movement, or you can also get some defensive abilities, which really allow you to change not just how how far you're moving, but how you're moving. It allows you to put a character further out front, because you can do things like, say, make all units have a -1 to hit him. So that's
Eldar has a lot of stuff like buffing or weakening other enemy stuff. So it's not so much offensive; it's more tactical. Like, I'm gonna buff these guys, give maybe Wraithguard rerolls to hit or something, and then you can also make them harder to hit or things like that. So
I was doing that with Death Guard. I used it more defensive. I don't think I smited. I did the Curse of the Leper, where you
fantastic.
Roll dice versus their toughness or something like that. But they're next to Mortarion, so they're down. It was they're all dead.
Yeah, it's you could totally get a bunch of force multipliers with the psychic.
And I think that's it's just so powerful. That Grey Knights, that one character's dead or the one model's dead, but anything that's can get 1 or 2, it's just an amazing trade-off. Yeah, and then buffing your guys, or -1 to hit, or making my Poxwalkers toughness 5 when they're next to
Typhus.
Typhus. I was just all right, good luck.
Yeah.
It's just, that's why I literally fell in love with them. But man, it's there's so much you can do in the psychic phase.
Yeah.
So all right, I'll ramble on about it forever. Jeff, you don't play armies with psychers.
Or very few.
Very few. Why? Let's look at you. Let's analyze the guy who does not bring, because Matt and I love him.
I know.
We use them.
I see the value in them, but I guess I don't know. The armies I play, so I have Dark Angels. I mean, they have access to psychers, but unless I'm gearing towards a psyker heavy list or a smite spam kind of a thing, my psychic powers aren't that great. They're okay. The Dark Angels ones are okay. I like them, but it's not something. It's not an integral strategy outside of Smite. So then it's well, if I want to use it for Smite, then I need to take 3 to 4 librarians, which again, then it's just not the strategy that I have with Dark Angels. It's they're not that good at it, because unless I have them all in Terminator armor, they're going to be slow. Or if I have drop pods or whatever, it's I guess maybe a transport. But again, then I'm planning my game around it, which again, I don't know. It just doesn't seem that appealing, to switch up the strategies that I have with Dark Angels. And then I guess Harlequins, I kind of need them, not for Smite, but for to conceal, so I can get the -1 to hits and stuff, so that they can actually not get shot off the board totally in the first turn.
So, Jeff, do you think that one of the main reasons you may not be comfortable with the Smite phase, or turning into G. With the
Why
psychic
you uncomfortable
phase.
with the psychics?
Where did he touch you, Jeff?
Yeah.
No.
Goodness gracious.
Do you think that maybe part of the reason that you're uncomfortable with the psychic phase is because it's not something that you can completely accurately plan on going off? So you're, especially with the one psychic power per. I noticed in a lot of your armies, you tend to take things in repetitive rolls so that you can back things up. But if you're counting on something going off and you're going to have a chance of it failing, I would think as kind of a strategic defensive player, that might make you a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, like at this rate, like rolling a 5 on 2d6, I almost guarantee smite is like a sure thing. It's pretty
for
sure.
smite, yeah.
So like, I try not to think of it as like a risk, so to speak. I guess
It's
you
not
could
enough reward, right?
Yeah, there's not enough. Like I'm losing out. Like if it's an HQ slot, I'm losing out on rerolls. I'm losing out on some sort of, like, because like outside of smite, like a librarian for Space Marines does.
Oh, I have no idea what he does. I've never.
Well, I mean,
one.
like he has he
librarian.
can get a psychic power in smite, and it's like, okay, the main reason you're taking him is because of smite, because the Space Marine psychic powers are meh.
But isn't there a buff or something? You attack more. Or there's got to be something else to a librarian.
No, he doesn't. I don't recall any aura buffs or anything, like, because chaplain gives you reroll hit and morale, and then like captains give you rerolls of 1s to hit, and it's like the librarian doesn't do any of that. So it's like
the witch, I guess.
Yeah, there's deny the witch. That's it. But it's like, again, it's unless I'm taking multiple, it's like you're gonna be able to get in 1s anyway. So it's like,
now, Aaron, let me ask you this: both of you guys, let's talk about the previous editions of the game. Were you still not playing Psychic?
Oh, I played Psychers.
And were you still aggressively playing Psychers?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The good old days of 5th edition and Lash. I could talk, like you talk about Smite forever and ever. So in 5th edition, back before the dark time of chaos.
Back in my time.
Back in my day.
5 miles for a battle report.
Uphill both ways.
Waiting for it.
Black and white pictures.
Everything was in black and white, even reality.
That's right. So, as the resident grandpa here, so we've got.
No, we already have a grandpa.
We do, Voldus.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
How dare you disrespect him?
No.
Shame on you.
I tell you.
Get off his lawn.
Shame.
Yeah, he's never taken you fishing. Again.
Fishing for demons.
So, fifth edition, we had an ability called Lash of Torment. And it was something that you were able to use as a Slaneshi player. The Demon Princes could take it, Sorcerers could take it as well, and I could pick up one of your units, move it 12 inches, and rearrange it however I want.
Rearrange it like upside down?
No, rearrange it like, say, in the shape of, a Flamer template. Or a small blast.
I gotcha.
Or
Okay.
put their stuff that you want to kill first up front.
Yep.
Because before, when you used to, when models would die, it was always the unit closest to where it came from.
Right.
So like if you shot something, it was the closest model.
Okay.
So.
It makes sense. First one got shot. Or
Right.
whatever.
Well, in this edition, you can pick.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
So you would move something and expose.
Pull it out of cover.
Pull that meat out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Pull it out.
Talk
Throw
to
it
me
on
about
the
what-
pan.
Hard R rating this week,
Talk
folks.
to me about your meat Slanesh player.
Yeah, this fits
It
so
makes
well.
sense, right? It makes
Yeah,
sense.
hey.
Now the audience is in on the joke.
Yeah. So no, we're talking about the ability to. There used
Talking
to be
about
some-
meat.
Talking about meat. All right. So we're talking about the ability to put things in, and there was another thing that isn't present in the current edition called dangerous terrain.
Yes.
So I could cause wounds to unit just by putting it in a type of terrain, and if they rolled a 1, they would take a wound.
Oh wow!
And so
They get an armor save though.
They do get an armor save, but realistically, any chance to do wounds without me having to roll dice,
True. It's fair.
Yeah, it puts it on them.
it really puts it on
Just getting
them.
to roll saves.
So you missed those.
I really, really.
I wonder
really
how they would
miss
work in this edition with the new psychic phase.
I'm
I
not sure.
I don't know that it's ever going to come back because double Demon Prince, double Lash was
Too strong.
as much hated of a list as any cheese list out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it really became hated. I didn't play competitively at the time, so it was just
So you did that to your friends?
I did. I'm that guy.
Oh my
I'm
god,
that guy.
that's so funny.
But I didn't know. I wasn't listening to podcasts at the time. It's not something that I came across because of anything other than, hey, this is an advantage that I can use for my army.
And I love, like, I just think that's great. I applaud you for that.
Hey, all right.
I just like it when people find out their own strategies and just go with it. You know?
Yeah.
And that's
This is way before the internet.
That is.
This is the time when they invented electricity.
You had to use a calculator. You had to crank it up.
that's
and,
right.
Yeah.
We
Punch
played 40K
cards.
Actually, I was
candlelight.
going to say an abacus.
Yeah.
Calculator. I was going to say abacus, man.
I tell you the abuse I take so you guys can listen to a podcast.
Oh man,
It's incredible.
So
It's
mean.
incredible.
Okay. Now
It's going to come back to me at some point.
yeah,
so.
right. You know it'll go back to Jeff at some point. Now
Can we roll a dice for that?
yeah.
On a
Yeah,
one.
on a one, it's you forever. Watching old battle reports when Liz was like listening to all the fluff and waiting for 8th to drop. I used to see like psychic phase on 3 dice. It looked so confusing. It felt terrible, you know.
It wasn't. I guess it like. Yeah, I guess to like a new
6th
total
and 7th
player,
edition
yeah,
was really there was a steep learning curve.
Oh yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and then also, I guess there were multiple things. It's like it wasn't a set amount of dice you rolled. You could pick, so it kind of blew off the hinges of how to strategize. That like it's, it takes time to learn it. And then 2 is you can totally like mess up. You can totally dominate in both your opponent and your psychic phase based on how many psychers you take and all that stuff. Because you get, at least in 7th edition, you would get dice to deny.
Yep.
As well as to cast. So if you had a ton of psychers, you get dice per mastery level. So you're getting all these dice while say your opponent only had 1 psyker. Like you just like, I'll just throw all my dice and deny it. Like sucks to be you.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I routinely played a Pink Horrors list where I was bringing around 32 psychic dice.
Wow.
And that's how summoning worked as well. There were all sorts of craziness.
So it's
Yeah,
not like
so many worse
so now we're like, I've got 6 psychers, but before it's like, I have 40 psychic dice.
Yes.
Like, and you can like you'll roll 5 for this one.
You can choose, yeah.
Oh, that's
because you cast every dice
yeah.
cast on 4 plus. So every and
every 4 plus is
is a success.
Is a warp charge. So like
Okay.
a warp charge, and like certain powers would need like warp charge 2. So you needed to get 2 4 pluses on however many dice you wanted to throw at.
Oh,
it.
that's retarded.
But like 6s would be perils.
Okay.
But if it's like demonology, any doubles would peril.
Okay.
So
Perils would cancel the
Perils would
you
be
roll
wounds.
you roll on the perils table.
Yeah, it was more bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
It looks terrible in old battle reports.
There were pros and cons.
Yeah, but the psychic powers, I would say, like, I guess, like, I kind of complain about Smite. I guess I kind of complain about the mortal wound kind of thing. I have my opinions on that, but
yeah, you do.
But I was gonna say the psychic powers in 7th edition some were just absolutely crazy.
And
And easy to get because you could game it, basically rig it so that you get it because you get 40 dice. Yeah, you just use. If I really need this, here's all 40 dice. I'm gonna get it.
Wow. There's no sense of balance whatsoever.
Exactly. Yeah.
There were 2 armies that were above and beyond everybody else. Eldar and demons were so far ahead of the game in the psychic phase. Everybody else's psychic powers paled, and you went from 5th edition, where you had really 4 strong psychic armies. You could play a strong psychic Grey Knights army. You could play a strong Chaos, either Space Marines or Demons army. You could play a strong Eldar army, or you could also the one time I almost played an Imperial army was the Space Wolves Hero Hammer Psyker phase. It was so good. Before Grey Knights came out and ruined the party for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatever.
So that's what they do.
If you can't keep up, you know.
That's right. They're on the cutting edge. you know?
Right. They're like, what the West Coast is in Silicon Valley. They're like the Elon Musk of 40K. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the second phase. I think it's funny. Like you're just rolling 2 dice and you just need this number on 2 dice. Like that is a very simple mechanic, and I'm just surprised that they haven't That's not new, right?
They did. I mean, sixth
did
edition
it
it was like
before.
leadership, basically.
Oh, right.
So
Like, it
it's
just makes
still
so
2D
much sense.
2D6.
It's 2d6, and you need this.
But it was a
Like,
little more complicated. In
oh, okay.
six.
I love the simplicity of it, and I do think. I don't know. I think to go back to what you were saying, I think even if I'm playing like when I can't take psychers with my Templars, like but so I don't
Pour
really
the
have
Witch.
yeah. So, but I think it's still worth taking one to make your guys tougher. I know that librarians can still toughen your guys, make them hard to shoot, or something like that. So I think that slot is worth it. I think it's
Dark
really
Angels
worth
can't,
it.
but yeah,
You know, there are the Dark Angels can't.
their powers. They have their own set of powers, and their powers don't do that.
Okay.
So one thing that is another benefit of the psychic phase is for armies that are running on the lower end of the detachment side, you run out of command points fairly quickly, and the psychic phase kind of emulates a lot of powers that you'll see coming off of the command cards. Especially you'll see that the stratagems are very similar to some of the effects that you'll see, especially in the Death Guard army. You'll see stratagems that make a unit hard to hit, and you'll see a psychic power that makes them hard to hit.
Yeah. I've used them both. I'm just wondering, like, from the perspective of the guy who doesn't. I guess you can't even have. You're boned for playing Dark Angels, I guess, you know? So, sorry, guys, you just don't take Psychers.
Well, I mean...
And it is funny, like, Blood Angels have, like, they have a Psyker and a Dreadnought and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, so, like, their psychic powers aren't bad. Like, they have one to, like, I think it, like, inflicts one mortal wound, and then...
they have to fight last or whatever.
Something like that. And then there's one where it forces one unit to take snapshots, for like an enemy unit to take snapshots or whatever, and then I can't remember the other one.
Don't sleep on that. That's not a bad psychic power at all.
Yeah, it's not bad. As I said, it's not terrible or anything, but it's not like, again, unless I have him in Terminator armor, it's hard to get to the right unit because it has. I think it's like the closest unit. It's hard to pick, and it's only like 18 inches or whatever it was. It's like, it's useful, but again,
hard to pull
situation.
off.
Right, it's situational, and it's like Warp Charge 7. So like knowing me, I'm gonna fail it.
You're deaf. I think we forgot about the Jeff factor, and that he's gonna roll a 1 and another die.
I was trying to be nice when I was getting there with the whole mitigating risk but. You know, no, it really.
He's gonna roll a 1 and a 3, and
we'll see what they look like. We'll see what those Dark Angels look like once they actually get a codex.
Codex, I think that might change.
Yeah, because then I'll get 6 psychic powers.
You'll get 6.
Because like the ones in 7th edition actually weren't bad. Like there was some the same. Like there was one to make snapshots and stuff like that, and there was a lot. But it's a lot of like messing with leadership kind of stuff, which I like. And I think that's kind of Dark Angel's thing because they are good at leadership and they try to make the opponent worse at it. And with the new morale phase, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they capitalize on that and kind of do like a bunch of morale stuff because then I would totally go back into it. But because right now it's for Dark Angels at least.
Yeah. That's why I'd like to get away from the specific army stuff. I know we can't help it because that's what we own and play.
It's like what I play.
That's
why I don't.
Yeah, but like we can't even talk about your other army because they don't have psychers
blanks,
either.
Admech, nothing. It's like
you don't play, and he's also like, but in general terms, so that way the audience, because we don't know what they own, so let's assume they own something that isn't Dark Angels or something, you know.
Well, realistically,
but I guess the psychic phase also is like. It's so faction specific that it's like outside of Smite, it's like you kind of need to talk about faction because they use it in different ways, you know.
Only Grey Knights and the Thousand Suns, I think, are the ones that are
smiting.
made to really blast and really dominate the psychic phase, but everybody else has equal access to it. So let's not talk about either end of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's try to fit in the middle.
Equal access is with air quotes, but
I think
because some don't have access at all.
VIP access.
That's right.
That's right.
Just because we have table service, bottle service, man, you can't be jealous. Don't be hating
up in the club, man.
They got their spot. They just
if you go to a club and there's Grey Knights. Just go to another club because you're not going to get
chains.
all the girls.
Chains and
all
silver,
the girls are going over there.
In.
The DJ's going to play their favorite songs.
Yeah.
Like they're getting
Shut
the best.
It down.
Yeah.
Now, so talking about it from a generic view of the psychic phase, there are some things that can be applied across every army. There are 3 basic uses that you can use that you can look at when you're evaluating psychic powers. is this a reliable offensive output? Is it going to be something that is going to be on par with a smite, or is this something that's going to be situational, where I'm going to need to either roll a lot of sixes to make this happen, or while it may have the effect to be completely catastrophic, I'm only going to pull it off once every 3 games or so. You're going to look at, can I dictate the movement phase? Can I change my deployment? Those are some things that you want to look at in every psychic ability. And then you're going to want to look at the defensive abilities and see, once again, is this something that I can reliably count on to keep my unit on the table? Or is this something that is only going to go off in a kind of situational space like Jeff was talking about with Dark Angels?
You still get to try to deny also, speaking about the defense.
Only
that's
24
also,
inches, though.
But that's also worth looking at. I mean, they can only
Sure.
smite at 18. Or, in fact, most psychic powers are within 24 to 18.
Most
Sure,
often,
right?
yes. But that's a place where you want to look at when you have the psychic abilities. Do you have defensive abilities that you want to stick a psyker at the back of the table to be able to make him really hard to deny? It's one of the key abilities that that make the Imperial Guard so strong, is the ability to sit their psychic units behind a large line of guard. So while they may not be able to target the opposing psyker with smite, they can hit a lot of units while making it difficult to deny those units.
Rookie question here. To deny, is it you have to be within range of the enemy psyker or the unit that's being
The
affected?
psyker
The
itself,
psyker. Okay,
yes.
that's what I thought.
Caster,
but-
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of applications for it, and I would look at defense first, unless you're playing Grey Knights, because then it is offense, or even Thousand Suns. I don't know their rules. Or we'll wait till the
Oh, it's
Codex.
definitely offense. I mean, if you have Magnus, it's
you
so
have Magnus,
offense.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd look at the defensive capabilities first when playing another army. You know, if you're not playing the one that Jeff's playing.
I don't know. Honestly, like usually when at least when I was in 7th edition, I always tried to think of the psychic as a way to just bolster my troops. Enhance, yes.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
necessarily like, hey, I'm going to use it to wipe everything out, or I'm going to use it to do what like I just thought it was a way to just add another layer, either, buff my guys or somehow make the enemy weaker at some point. Maybe not necessarily by killing, wounding models or anything, but by like, okay, they have to shoot snapshots, or they
Can Dark Angels take Primaris Psychers? Do you have access to those
I believe
guys?
so, yeah.
See, I think those are cheap psychic dudes. You don't have to take Librarians. You take those guys instead.
Well, I mean, they would still have to cast Dark Angel's powers, though, unless they're a different chapter.
If you make them a different detachment.
Then it has to be a different detachment and all that stuff. So then why does
okay.
it matter if I'm taking Dark Angels?
Okay,
You know what I mean?
okay. No, I'm just wondering if you have
Yeah.
access to it, because it makes sense. Like, I don't want to pay
Well, I have access 'cause it's
120
Imperium.
points for a Librarian when I can take a Primary Psyker for less points. And because then you're looking
does a
at
base librarian cost in this edition? Like last edition, Space Marine Psychers were like the cheapest HQ choice. So I don't know how much they cost.
I think they're pretty cheap now. They're all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know.
In those mixed Imperium soup lists. So
Yeah.
they take them just to play defense, deny.
Right.
And if you get close enough, go ahead and smite. Why not?
Yeah, I guess I haven't really locked down like points for them yet. So like if it's cheap enough, I might consider it. I guess it also kind of like. I guess if I'm going to a tournament and I know there's definitely going to be like psyker heavy lists, I would definitely consider it.
Oh yeah,
like,
we
a
should talk
defensive-
about that.
I would definitely
Psychers
consider-
are everywhere in tournaments,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
absolutely.
So-
The two heaviest armies right now that you're seeing a lot of, and a lot of people complaining about, because hey, the internet is a real thing, is
Yeah, we're here. We're on the internet. We're doing.
We're
it.
on the internet right now.
We do this because of the internet. We get to do.
that's
that.
right. It's amazing. So no,
Full circle.
Full circle. Coming back around. So no, you want to look at the Chaos Soup lists, which are bringing Demon Princes, which are bringing
Yeah.
Morty. In some cases,
Magnus.
although
I hate seeing them together. I hate it. I just saw the battle report. I just don't think they should ever. I know they share keywords, but no, they should never be. They're not friends in the game.
at all,
Fluff-wise, so
at
they
all,
should not.
yeah.
It's true.
Gee,
No.
did you just go fluffy on us? Did
I love the fluff. I love the fluff.
beat you, Fluffy.
Yeah,
I beat you,
and no,
Fluffy.
they should never be like. They should just not allow it.
Sucker.
Yeah, I think that the Mortarius Magnus, the Mortarian Magnus lists that you're going to see aren't going to be too prevalent, because you're putting close to 1,000 points into 2 models.
That's all.
I mean,
I've seen a bunch of reports with them. Then they're fine. They're fine. Yeah, they're completely fine because the rest is all poxwalkers and demon princes. That's it. And they can't do shit.
Yeah.
They're fucked. They're fucked.
I was gonna say. So again, Chaos Chief Chaos Officer. So Nurgle doesn't like who? Tzeentch. Okay, and
Straight
then
up.
Khorne doesn't like Slaanesh.
Slaanesh, yeah.
And then it goes back and forth.
Right, yeah. It really, nobody likes anybody because they all bring some different kind of disgusting funk to the table, and nobody wants to mix their funk. But
so
no.
I didn't realize it was. I knew like some of the Chaos Gods hate each other.
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
know
no.
it was definitely Nurgle Tzeentch were like
Nurgle and
enemies.
Tzeentch don't like each other because Nurgle.
So yeah, they
is-
should definitely not be on that.
That's got to make a rule.
In 7th edition, they used to have rules pertaining
Right.
to psychers of different.
Yeah.
different,
going back to 3rd and 4th edition. In 3rd edition, again, before I played, I believe it was 3rd edition. If you had a Nurgle unit in your army, you couldn't take a Tzeentch unit.
Are you trying to go back to the days of Chaos 3.5?
Oh, I never played. I've only.
I was gonna say I've never played, never heard. I
But
don't know,
yeah,
but that's all I hear.
there's
on the
no
interwebs
codex
is Chaos
that is
3.5.
more beloved than Chaos 3.5. If you even talk about this, as a matter of fact, as soon as Jeff said Chaos 3.5, his neckbeard immediately grew 2 inches. It was amazing.
And your meat.
I was gonna say Meat Man over there, man.
The meat man grew.
It was marinating. It was
my meat and his hair.
All right.
So
get a little out of hand with that one.
Yeah, I think that should not be allowed. Just like, I mean, Roberto and Celestine are an awesome combo together too.
Yeah.
But I think they're allowed. They don't hate each other. But
They even come in the same
Well,
box.
Yeah.
Imperial, everybody's friends for some reason.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, well,
Except the Dark Angels. Nobody likes the Dark Angels.
fuck
Yeah, what is that? But they can still be on the table with you.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's right. Dark Angels can be on with everybody except Cypher.
Right.
Except Cypher.
Yeah. So there are some important things to take a look at from a tournament perspective with the psychic abilities. It is something that you're going to have to think about when you're looking to play on the table. So you're going to want to go ahead and at least consider how you're going to mitigate the psychic phase. If you're planning on playing an army like Jeff, if you're bringing Tau, if you're bringing something that doesn't participate in the psychic phase, you better figure out.
She's like, don't do that.
You better figure out a way
That's
to
it. Don't
handle
be
it.
a Jeff.
We don't psychic phase.
We don't psychic
like
phase.
protesting. We don't psychic.
Hey, ho, ho. Psychic phase has got to go.
So you really need to consider a way to mitigate that phase, no matter what, because it's going to be coming.
Yeah, just because you don't participate doesn't mean your opponent doesn't
Shouldn't,
participate in the psychic phase, and he will use it to beat that ass.
Sucker.
And we have yet to see 2 of the heavier psychic armies get their codexes yet. They're coming soon with Eldar and Tyranids.
Yeah.
So,
Don't
once we
sleep
know,
on Tyranids. They can do some psychic damage.
and again, they also get to have some movement out of the psychic phase as well. So,
That's right, yeah.
So, all right, guys, I think we've touched base on all of the psychic shenanigans that you can bring to the table. So think about your list when you're building it, whether you're considering the abilities that psychic phase can bring to the table or what your opponent's going to be bringing to the table. It is definitely wise not to sleep on the psychic phase. So, guys, Jeff, why don't you take us out, man?
I roll 1, so you don't have to.
Peace.
And we're signing off from Immortals Inc. Studio. This is the Chainsword Diaries. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We have all of your 40K stories.